All right. Well, another day, another mystery box, right? As you probably can tell, this one's full of tractors. I went to the Monroe, Wisconsin flea market yesterday, and it's a nice little flea market. And usually, I don't find too much. I might find a couple things, and went around looking, and um, went to a few other stands, and one place I got this Ertl truck. It's pretty cool. I mean, I like the longer bed on it. And the other thing is, I don't like the cab. It's not very proportional. So this will be a good basis for a custom. I got that for $5, which is probably about what it's worth. And then picked this up for $1. It was a Hazard County. It's from the Dukes of Hazard one. And I usually pick these up, these Pontiacs up. I like picking up different stuff. I got a friend of mine that I do trades with, and he really likes these big old cars. He does customs with them, so that's probably where that's going to go. And then I bought this all at once. Box had a little tag on it right there. It said $20 entire case. I was like, oh, that's. I just kind of like what I usually do. I'll see a box like this. I won't dig through it. I might do something like this, just kind of do a quick paw, but I generally won't like pull everyone out and look, because what happens if you do that, at least in my opinion, is one, the you're given the seller time to react to you. So the longer you're there, the more likely you're not going to get it. You know, you're going to pay what they're going to want you to pay. And I was actually going to pull out the 20, and then they said, "Oh yeah, okay." Because at first they kind of like, "Oh gee," and I'm like, they're like, "Well, it comes with a nice case," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but the case is, I don't really need the case. I just wanted the tractors." So I was just about to pull the 20 out of my pocket when she said, "Yeah, I'll take 15." So I'm like, "Oh, great." So I get it home, and I start pawing through it, and it's mostly more modern tractors. It's not really, the tractors are a little bit newer. I think this one's probably from the 80s or the 90s. Um, so I paid $15. Okay, $15 for all these. Now I counted them, and there are 19 tractors and one combine. So we got some schmutz on there, but that could be cleaned off. A Heston. You don't see too many of those around. And end loaders, a lot with end loaders. Some of these older John Deeres, maybe. I gotta check and see what years these were. But if they fall within, my time frame. This one actually I'm gonna end up keeping. Even kind of sucks that the top of the cab is pulled off of it, but it's of my era, so I'll find use for it somewhere. Ford with a loader and one without. I actually got two without. This is the worst one of the lot. Lost one of its outer wheels. I'm sure that could be repaired. But this is what I was interested in most, was the implements. Manure spreader, we'll have fun with that. Feed mixer. More tractors. So ended up with 19 tractors, one combine, and 16 implements. It's the implements that I'm most interested in because these will look really good, especially these guys, with my international dealer. They always have, used tractors from other, John Deere's and other tractors, and they're used a lot. So that's where the John Deere stuff will kind of be. It would be in the used area. Round baler. Another tractor. Forge wagon. Gravity box. I don't know if that's what they call that or not. If you know what it's called, feel free to comment. Another baler. The hay cutter. A forge cutter. And hydrous ammonia. Yeah, I got lots of these around my house. Across the street there was a co-op. They don't have, the place is still there, but they don't, they're not really open. They just use it as an office, but they used to have about 100, 200 of these tanks across the street from my house, and a big tank to fill them up, and I was always worried about that ever leaking, and I was so glad when they moved the co-op out of there. This thing spreads out pretty cool. And then we got the combine. So I'm going to keep the implements. I'm going to keep the combine and that tractor over here. The rest of these tractors I'm going to sell. I'll add these to my selling stock when I go to toy shows to sell. Now, these tractors, you can sell these things all day for $3. If you go $3 to $5 on these things, that's about what they go for. Sometimes a little more. Like the big, where's that four-wheel drive tractor? Boy, for something so big, sure disappeared in there. There it is. It disappeared right in with the rest of them. But like this guy, I'd probably ask 5 to 7 for at a sale. The rest of these, I'd probably go $3 on the ones without the loaders, and maybe $5 for the ones with the loaders. Just as a start price. Of course, if somebody offers me less money, usually I'll take it. So we got that. Of course, there's the bomber kit. I'm going to get to that. I picked up more sheets. I needed them for the motel. I decided I'm going to work on that motel first because I want that gas. I already have a gas station built, and the bomber gas station, I really don't have to have done till October. That's if I decide to even do that show. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do that show or not because I don't know. I don't know if my ego can handle modelers picking over one of my things, because that's where you really got the rivet counters and the people are like, that's not the correct engine manifold for that year or whatever, It's like, I don't know. I don't know if my ego can handle it. Picked up some things on eBay. I got some Miller engineering signs, and these ones are rare. These Pabst Blue Ribbon window lights, they discontinued those a couple of years ago, sold out of them. Miller Engineering doesn't usually restock once they sell out of an item, unfortunately. I looked at their website just the other day, and it's like there's so much that's not available anymore, and it's like, I was going to buy that when I get more money. It's like, man, I think next time I get like a big chunk of money coming in, I should probably go and buy as much Miller Engineering as I can before that all disappears. Because, as you guys know, those are the signs that run my layout. I still got half a layout to do. That I want to get extra signs because you know they do tend to fade and you know. But yesterday I did see an old Miller Engineering sign, which another story. Yesterday I stopped by a train shop in Monroe, Wisconsin. Monroe is only about 20 minutes, 25 minutes from my house. It's where I go grocery shopping, and I knew this railroad shop has been there for years, but I never got a chance to go see it because usually when I go to town, they're not open. He's only open a couple days a week. But since it was a Saturday, I knew he was going to be open, and I was in town anyway, so I went and checked him out because I needed some more siren, and I knew he had some. Unfortunately, he only had 2 sheets of what I needed, but that's okay. But the guy is a really cool guy, and one thing he had though that I really needed was these spade bits, flat bits, or flat blades, whatever you want to call these, scraper blades. They are so handy, and I've used the ones that I had till they're just duller than hell. And I was looking, you know, in little hobby shops. I couldn't find them, you know, and I wasn't sure what they were called, which you know ones they were. So I was going to look online for them, but then he had them, so I got 2 packs, which will keep me rocking and rolling for a while. But it was interesting talking with the guy because he is a diorama builder too. He works in N scale. And we talked, you know, he showed me his dioramas. I talked to him about mine because I didn't have my phone on. I couldn't show him what I did. But you know, we talked about the same problems when he had his main display diorama encased in plexiglass. And he was like, yeah, you know, the signs don't work. You put a sign out that says, don't touch, people touch. You know, you tell people don't touch, people don't listen half the time. He says, so I put a panel up on the front. That didn't stop them. So I put 2 panels up on the sides. That didn't stop them. So I ended up having to totally encase the thing in plexiglass in order to keep people from digging in it. And I said, you know, I totally understand because that's like a major problem for me when I have people come to visit. I have to tell them, you know, and I always do. I tell them as we're going down in there, I says, when you see this thing, it's going to be kind of overwhelming and you're going to want to touch it. That's like everybody's first reaction is to go, wow, look at that. Oh, look at this. Oh, isn't that cool? Wow, look at that. You know, and then they end up snagging a street light or knocking stuff over or, you know, and it's like, so, you know, I tell people when they come down, you know, don't touch. You want to look at something close, let me know, I'll grab it. And 95% of my visitors, you know, listen, because they are in my home. And I don't really have that many people down here. I'm very, very selective, I guess. I don't know about who I invite over because you know my wife does not want it open to the general public. That's for sure, and I understand that. Plus, my stairs are a bit hard to get down. But anyways, you know, there's always somebody that'll get excited and they'll reach in and grab something. You know, it just seems. But anyways, so we were talking about the same problem. So it was kind of interesting. I'm kind of losing myself here, but I'm sure you guys are wondering about the drag racing, and that is still coming. My wife's still working on the editing. She hasn't been able to do much the last month because she's been feeling a bit ill. You know, as you guys know, my wife and I are older, and when she gets sick, she gets sick. So she's going to get back at it soon, and so hopefully we'll get that out and see what you guys think. Give me some feedback on what you guys think of the new that new picture reel that I put up, that slideshow. I'm surprised it only got like 220 views. I'm like shocked. I'm like, I really think YouTube is throttling me for some reason at this point. I don't know why. I don't know if I did something to piss off the algorithm gods or whatever, but it just seems like I can't get over 200 views. So. But I'm just going to keep putting out videos. I'm not expecting anything now. You know, I was hoping before that I was going to be able to monetize and be able to fund the diorama with what I made off of YouTube, but I don't think that's going to happen at all. Unless some miracle happens and I all of a sudden go viral. So I'm just going to muddle through and just keep at it. I got an allowance now, so I got a little bit of money to buy stuff, and that'll be enough to have some progression. And I hope to get more frequent videos out as I get things built. It's just been a weird year. As you guys know, I've been working on the drag racing project this whole time, and it's consumed everything I've had. And I haven't had an income. I had an income, but I haven't had an allowance in a year and a half, so it was really hard to fund supplies to build anything. So, but we're back. We're back. I'm going to be starting on this motel project. I'm already kind of started on it as far as just getting the materials together. I did a bunch of more gardening today, so hopefully my back will not hate me for it. But I hope to get back at the diorama building here pretty quick. Possibly I'll get some done tomorrow. So when I do, I'll shoot a video and show you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it, kind of thing, and we'll just go on from there. So thanks for sticking with me. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Please like and comment, share the videos. That's really important. If you think my videos are cool, man, share them on Facebook, man. Get your friends. I'm sure you guys have friends, right? I hope you all have friends and family. And it'd be really great if you guys would just share the living crap out of that slideshow video that I did. It's Route 66 100th anniversary, and I believe that I have the world's best, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. I think I have the world's best Route 66 diorama in 1/64 scale. There might be some better ones that are, larger scale, but I think mine is the largest. As far as it covers, almost a half a mile of Route 66, and it is what it is. But I'm probably getting too full of myself here. So, all right, I'm gonna cut the short. No, not short. We're almost at 18 minutes. So, anyways, you guys know what to do. See you soon.